Hey guys, we're back with Goodwind Café. We're here to talk to you about riding, motorcycles, and whatnot.
These topics actually have emerged out of multiple conversations that we had with people who are riding with us, our customers, and even people who we get trained by.
I'm joined here with Mr. Anil Nair and John Francis, co-founders of Goodwind Moto Tours, to share their valuable experience. Here is an important topic, uh, which is about riding gear. And just like we discussed and said that there is no one bike that fits all kind of riders, the same thing applies to riding gear. And if you've not chosen the right gear for a particular tour, then it can be very, very uncomfortable, and then you won't enjoy the ride. For example, the gear that you might use on a hot ride in India, maybe to the Konkan or to Thailand, is probably not the same thing that you would use when you go to Europe, and vice versa. So let me ask Anil on what his experience is about riding gear. How does he prepare for various tours that you do in Asia, in Europe, in Africa? And yeah, please, over to you.
The first principle for touring or any kind of riding is at GAT, all the gear, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
So there is no question about, okay, I'm doing this kind of a riding, hence I can afford to, or I can compromise on.
Yeah.
I will protect only one part of the body, I'll leave the rest of the body, exposed to. So at GAT, if it is that principle of all the gear all the time, even if you are just going to buy that 6 eggs for your breakfast, on a break morning to the nearest shop, there are chances that you can have an unfortunate event. So, I'm saying this out of a recent incident of a dear friend and one of our riders who miscalculated that particular a short ride.
It happens to everybody.
It happens to everyone because it's a short ride. I'm going there, so I can go in my slippers and I can not wear a helmet and all of that because it's just a kilometer. So at GAT, if it's a principle, then you start from head to toe. Okay. And if you are largely a touring person, you need to protect your head against high intensity impact. Any speed above 30 and 40, the impact that your head takes when it comes into contact with the asphalt or any substance is immense. So there are a lot of videos available out there. You can go and see what that is. So therefore you should not compromise on the quality of the helmet. Jokingly that we say that what is the value of your head, so no price for a helmet can be deemed as expensive. You need to invest in a high quality helmet which is rated to take on impact of a certain level. So I would I am of the opinion that half face helmets don't do the job if you are on a touring.
Your chin is not.
Your face, the whole face, the first impact would be your chin and face, and that can be fatal. It's not just about just a little injury that we are talking about, it can be quite fatal. So you need to protect your entire head, which includes the front part, as much as you protect the back part. So the helmet has to be full face. Then you can have modularity where you prefer when you stop, you don't want to remove the helmet, you just want to lift it up, quickly drink water, convenience, you can bring in modularity to it. But when you are riding, it has to be closed, it has to behave like a full face helmet. You can have an adventure helmet if you are doing a little bit of off-roading, because also on a touring and adventure helmet, because of the beak, really helps you cut the early morning sun, late evening sun, because that is another point where when we go to the mountains, when we ride in Europe, when you ride in southern hemisphere, the early morning sun and the late evening sun can literally blind you. And that sun is not at 6 o'clock, that could even be at 5 o'clock and 4:30. You get direct sun into the eye. So that beak helps you. So if you are going into the mountains, I would request you, to invest in a helmet which kind of gives
So
you
rule number 1, full face helmet
full face helmet
all the time.
all the time.
Whether it's modular or non-modular.
Non-modular, full face,
adventure, doesn't
adventure or not, it doesn't
but it's
matter.
full face.
Full face.
Yeah.
Then comes your legs. Because why am I not talking about the jacket first? No. The biggest exposed element or the part of the body is your leg.
Yes.
They are on the either sides of the motorcycle.
And the most complex in terms of the number of bones in that.
Yeah, number of bones in it,
Especially
number
your
of joints in it, and it is the longest organ that on a riding that it is exposed to the elements, right? And the chances are, if even if it's a 20 kilometer per hour topple, or a dead topple as we call it in a parking lot, you're backing out and suddenly you lost the balance, you tip over, a 250 kilo bike, and if you have luggage behind, then let's say 300 kilos falling on one of your feet, that can be a very, very serious impact, especially the lower part of your leg. It can break not a small bone break or a hairline. It can literally render you incapacitated in terms of your having to have a complex surgery, because again it has happened. Just a very low speed fall, tip over, has created multiple fracture at various points, because let's imagine this 300 kilos or 250 kilos of something falling on your foot. So you need to protect your foot. This is where one of my pet peeves with many of the riders, people wear an ankle length boot or a sports shoe or a trekking shoe, just which a kind of mimics a boot, but it's useless, because see, what are you protecting against? Your leg hitting the ground at great speed when the bike is falling on this side or this side while you're riding. So that impact, bike falling on your leg getting caught under the bike. So you have to protect not just one part of your leg, where the maximum part of your leg.
And that is where we always advise people to buy tall boots, right?
Tall
because
adventure
while you're
boots.
protecting your heel and all of those things, the shin is also a very important part,
Absolutely.
which is exposed.
And also one of the critical things, that most of the injuries happen when you have a movement of your toe, your ankle twisting inside the place, and that's where the compound fractures happen. So if you have something that holds your ankle very firmly, that you might have an impact injury, but it can escape from a very complex multiple fracture, which will come in
But again,
absolutely
this is also a very deep subject, where understanding what boot works for you and your type of riding is a very important topic.
So when you're on a
Because
track,
you could be a MX rider,
yeah,
motocross, where you're going to be doing high speed trails and all that stuff, or you could be touring, or you could be just a city rider, and there are different boots available for all these categories. And
so you'll have to see,
comfort is a trade-off.
Absolutely.
The
You
more
have
the
to-
safety, lesser the comfort.
you have to see, so one instance or incident is enough to injure you badly. So you have to see that even if you do 2 tours a year, you must bare minimum invest in a touring boot than just go for, okay, I only do 2 tours a year, therefore I won't use it that often, hence I will buy an ankle length general thick boot, which is not even suitable for a regular ride. Even city commute, ideally I would say 2 different boots. City commute you can have a boot, but again the whole principle, you got to protect your toe, you got to protect your ankle, because the same thing can happen. The ankle can get between. But
I actually
thankfully-
have only one boot, which is the tall one, which is what I use
and
every day.
if you can, every time you take your bike out, if you can wear it, it's absolutely advisable. It is discomfort while riding is just a small thing than lying with your leg up in a hospital bed staring at
And
the
you know
ceiling.
what? It's not discomfort, it's all in the head.
Yeah.
You get used to it in no time. I have asked people who wear the Tech 7s, which are MX kind of boots, and Some of our riders, they bought Tech 7s with maximum protection, no
Now they have Tech
movement of the
10s.
heel. And they love it.
Yeah.
They're saying this is absolutely fine. I don't find any discomfort.
So I have a Gane Dakar
Yeah.
one which has 3 clamps. It's a tall one. While I'm on a tour which is 10-12 days, I don't feel it at all. I'm wearing it while we are riding, wearing it, going to seeing some national parks and attractions, going up a hill, looking at the valley.
It just
Absolutely
looks big and heavy, but once you start wearing it and
Yeah,
once you
you have
bed
to
in,
get used to it.
then it's
But
fine.
the point is, comfort is not the factor here.
Exactly.
Safety is the factor here. So you have to bring that, you have to make that investment. Do not cut corners when it comes to buying a boot that will protect your feet.
I think if comfort is what you're looking for, then you shouldn't be on a motorcycle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You should be in a car.
Yeah. So no compromise there. Then comes to the riding jacket and top and the bottom, jacket and pants. You have to now factor in your rides and the weather outside, because that kind of determine a lot. It is always better to be layering up and down, rather than being committed to one kind of a jacket, because then what happens is the weather changes, which is now a norm. Anywhere in the world you will get 2 seasons. That's a reality. The climate changes for real. So we can have a very hot day and suddenly there can be a thunder shower, and then there's a dip in temperature. This can happen in Thailand. This can happen in the temperature dip largely happens in Europe, US, or Southern Hemisphere, which is basically your South Africa and all of that. And also the added factor is where many Indians don't understand or ever encountered is the wind factor, which is wind chill, where many of we've seen our customers struggle. Though they're protected for cold, they're not protected for the wind, the cold wind getting into their body. You can't take that for even 30 seconds. Forget half an hour or 1 hour of ride.
I remember one of our rides in South Africa, and we started in Pretoria.
Yeah.
The temperature was 29 degrees when we started in the morning, and when we ended the day, we went to a place called as Makubas Kloof. We were at 6 degrees.
Yeah, absolutely.
With rain.
Yeah.
Okay, so from 29 degrees going up to 6 degrees, I mean, you have to layer yourself in it. You had to add layers in that case, along with the rain gear towards the end. But if you were starting with a very thick jacket,
Right.
with no ventilation, nothing, then you would have got cooked right in the beginning.
So it's not just cooking. What happens is that when you are uncomfortable, it impacts your concentration.
Yes.
It impacts your concentration, you will make mistakes, and then it leads to something much more dangerous later in the day. So it's not just comfort alone. Again, it's a safety factor. So I would say it's a Swiss Army like gear, which is as multi-purpose. It can delayer and layer up. Kind of gear is something that if you want to invest in, will be good. Yes, it doesn't come cheap. A multifunctional, multi-season gear is always better. Otherwise, invest in that little differential one for very hot weather and for something which can take mild to strong cold, but also takes wet weather in. So you need to invest in that. But when you buy these things, please look at the safety aspect of it. Please do a little bit of research to understand what is the rating of the protective shell that they have provided. Right? Many people buy very expensive gear, but what is inside is basically a basic level safety gear, a C1, a base level stuff. Because that's what manufacturers do. They
want you to spend more,
or they will cut costs so that their margins improve. Yeah. So even if you're buying almost $1,000 top and a bottom, you might not get the top of the line safety. So you're rather going at a mid-level brand at a mid-level price, but invest more to ensure your safety shells in that go up a lot. right? So that is very important. So what you wear in your jacket and your trousers, which include your knee protection, because we talked about the boots, which can come up to a certain level. Knee is another one a lot of people ignore because it's one of the first parts of the body to hit the ground, and that too with great speed. So the protective case that you have there has to have a higher impact resistance and abrasion resistance. So you have to invest in that aspect of it. Then comes the gloves. Again, many a times when you fall, depends on how you fall. People tend to break their fall with the gloves. So I've seen a lot of people ride with gloves which has zero protection for such an impact.
Just
It
half
just
finger.
yes, it is actually a grip. You know, they it's not a
We've
glove.
seen that, yeah.
You know, they call it
Fingers coming out.
yeah, fingers coming out. And I mean, I never understood the logic of it, but I think it's very popular in US, United States of America, because of a particular riding community and their style. But it's surefire way of losing all your fingers, right? Because your fingers can't take it. You might as well ride without it.
Yeah.
Because you don't need that grip. That grip does nothing to the motorcycle in terms of your throttle control, nothing. It is for protection. The only role for a glove is protection and then comfort against cold, against the wind, all of that. But the primary function is that if your exposed parts like your knuckles, your inside palm, your fingers should be super well protected. So again, brands don't matter. Just look at the protection they're giving, the kind of leather that they're using, the kind of extra padding that they're giving at a points where you can probably get the most impact. And then you must wear them and feel and see whether that is good enough for you to grip on things. So that and this is a question of again breaking in. It's getting used to it. So don't go too much on comfort. Just look at protection. Dial up on protection, dial down on comfort, and then you'll be fine. Again, it's always better to have.
That's a good message. Dial up on protection and dial down
on comfort.
yeah.
If I were to choose, because a lot of people will,
Yeah.
they wear it and that feel, what they're looking for is that feel.
Comfort, yeah.
Comfort. But they don't look at, try and knock against something and see whether I'm feeling anything. Palm, that's how you need to check a glove. To see whether when you punch against a wall, are you feeling anything on your knuckles directly? Just go hit against something and see whether you're feeling anything directly here. I mean, it's not a foolproof test, but at least it gives you an indication of the kind of material used and all of that. Obviously, read up a bit. There are enough research out there on internet by all the people, but your approach should be that. Yeah. Then comes all the other things, right? And a whole lot of people invest in other communication gear and all of that. So I'm saying that that's all good to have, but a lot of people ignore very simple essential items on the gears, and I see that. To start with is a earplug. Okay, I have seen people without earplugs, and why do I think earplugs are so important for a rider? Again, the helmet that you use, there is always a lot of debate about noisy helmets and not so noisy helmets. Every helmet is a noisy helmet, right? It's only the degree of noise that you are talking about. But the very fact that we are riding at great speed, there is a sound from the engine, plus the air, the wind that gets into the helmet. And even though the vents are open, it creates a whirl in the face because of the high speed in which the air is entering your thing. And if you have an habit of lifting your lid a bit to get the air in, or that's your habit, then even more. That's pressure for your eardrums. Right. Now, if you ride 8 hours a day for 10 days, you're subjecting, I'm just giving a tour duration. Okay, now it can be over a year that you rode for, let's say, 40 days. Yeah. 40 days of continuous pressure on your eardrums. Okay, the eardrums start losing its sensitivity after a point of time because of the continuous pressure. So long-term hearing loss is an outcome of motorcycling, and it is clinically proven. And there's a large sample size in the United States where they have actually proven,
And can be easily avoided by using
completely avoided by having a
earplugs.
earplug.
Yeah.
So the earplug is not just, a lot of people don't understand why earplug, because and they say, oh, we listen to music, doesn't the earplug come in the way of that? No, it doesn't. Actually, there are brands out there which can cut out frequencies, especially the pressure. See, it lets sound in but cuts the pressure out. That's what it fundamentally does. It's not a block. So I'm not for those thick or blocks that you get cheap on an online store and stuff it in your ears.
Yeah.
That's not a
You
good
need
thing to do.
pair of tongs to remove it.
Correct. Remove it. Sometimes it can get stuck. Also, it cuts out the sound so much that you don't hear a warning honk or approaching vehicle. All of that. So you have to have something that allows the sound in but cuts the pressure out.
Yeah.
So that is one. The next one is balaclavas. Okay, or what you call the tubes or bandanas or whatever that you call it, or a headgear. You need to wear that for two reasons. It is fundamentally, if it's made of a sweat wicking material, it will keep your helmet and the head in a much more comfortable, fresh level. Again, a long riding day, towards the end of the day, if your head is not fresh, you are sweating a lot inside and you're feeling it becomes uncomfortable. You will keep adjusting with one finger, start moving out, mistakes happen. Suddenly you can't pull the clutch on something, or you can't access the front brakes because your hand is elsewhere or you're distracted, all of that. So anything that can create discomfort over a long duration of it, you should. It's a very simple thing. It costs nothing, but people don't give importance to it. We are used to putting that. No, please wear that. That is also extend the life of your helmet, plus avoid irritation. Next one, people some people use is a good thing to do, is a neck brace. But if you are touring long distance, high speeds, protecting your neck or your spine, a neck brace technically, you would have seen the Formula 1 racers now by statutory rule they have to wear a neck brace. So if that's a great protection, if you really want to double down on protection, so you can invest in a neck brace. But then simple items like waterproof socks. Okay, I've seen a lot of people buy a waterproof boots, or some of them they don't. They wear a regular thing, and water gets in, because if you are doing a water crossing, you really don't know the depth of the particular water crossing.
Yeah.
The chances are you're splashing in and some water will go in, and if it's a cold water like the glacier water on top, you wouldn't want that there. And through the day, it's a very uncomfortable thing. And because inside the boot it gets slushy after a point.
The whole day is ruined.
Plus, again, you stop feeling your brakes, and you start losing the sensation.
Yeah.
Okay, after a point of time.
Imagine that happening in Europe, in rain, when the temperature goes down to 5 degrees, and cold feet.
Yeah,
finished.
We have had people who actually had a rain jacket but never bought the bottom. And they were wearing the boots outside where the jacket was shoved into the boots. So it was nice inlet of water going into the boots. The boot was soaking wet, and they didn't have a waterproof thing. The waterproof socks cannot prevent water from going in. It can make your feet stay drier, not completely, but drier, so that your ride doesn't become uncomfortable, and again, irritation happens, you make a mistake, or by end of the day when you actually go and remove it, your legs are absolutely soaked, and and you can have your skin can get impacted. So if you are on a tour in India, outside India, because today you can't predict when the rain is going to happen.
So if you just have to summarize, there are 2 or 3 main classifications. So one is hot weather versus cold weather.
Yes.
And that part you addressed by saying that you can layer it up to your comfort. And the second aspect is rain and water.
Water.
Okay. It could be rain, it could be a water crossing, a river that you're crossing, a small thing, and water can get in. So one needs to be at least knowing what to encounter during the tour. If you're doing the Himalayas, if you're doing Ladakh, if you're doing Spiti, there is a very high chance of water crossing.
Because the
And
water
even if it's
crossing
not
is on
raining.
the road.
Correct.
So
And
you're
even
not
if it's
going for the water
raining,
crossing. You have to cross the water because the water is on the road.
Correct. And even if it's not raining, you are going to go through that, and if
100%.
you don't have waterproof boots or
Yeah.
socks, then the water is going to go in. And therefore, what has worked for me when I go to the mountains, to Himalayas, Ladakh or Spiti, I always prefer to wear a waterproof boot, which is a tall boot covering my shin, and my pants are also Gore-Tex waterproof. The upper layer is not really waterproof, and the reason I do that is because it's very easy to just
Yes.
add a rain thing on top of it.
It's very difficult to wear a bottom
rain
part of the
pants,
rain
yeah,
pants
then you have
while
to
you're on a
stop.
ride, because you don't find a place to sit and
Yeah.
pull this in, right?
So if it's not too hot, and if there is any possibility of rain or water crossings, I just prefer to have waterproof waist below, and then whenever it rains, just add the rain jacket on top of your riding jacket. And always I carry 2 pairs of gloves. One is waterproof, and
It's a
one
very
is
smart thing to do.
summer gloves. So that I think.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum that you need to invest
Yeah.
in. And all of this needn't be done overnight. You don't need to go to a shop and just
Buy everything.
buy everything.
Yeah.
You just need to build it over a period of time.
Yeah.
And you also, if you look after those gears, that kind of gloves,
Yeah.
they should last you more than 5 years.
So easily.
Right?
Yeah.
A good quality boots will last you 5 years
Easily.
or more. I mean, 5 years if you're regularly using it, because they're really built to last. Maybe a jacket and a pant might have a lesser lifetime, depends on your usage again. Helmet life span is 5 years. And socks and all, it doesn't cost much, so you can keep using them. So yes, it is an expensive hobby,
But it's a journey.
it's a journey,
Yeah.
and you are doing this not because of anything else, but there is a purpose for each of this equipment,
Yeah.
right? But the larger message I want to give is, while you go spend a lot of money on the riding jacket or a helmet, don't cut down on the boots,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I would rather you wear a
Absolutely.
local riding jacket, okay, though it's not a mega brand,
Yeah.
but please invest heavily on that boot.
Helmets, boots, most important.
Most important.
Yeah.
And the gloves, right? The jacket, yes, I mean, but the function of a jacket or a pant, the mission criticality of a poor boot versus a good boot is not that kind of a difference between a great jacket versus a medium jacket, right?
Super. Sounds good.